Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. The most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." The trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant, it's just that they know so much that isn't so. When you can't make them see the light, make them feel the heat. Peace is not absence of conflict, it is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Inflation is as violent as a mugger, as frightening as an armed robber, and as deadly as a hitman. If we ever forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under. We must reject the idea that every time a law is broken, society is guilty rather than the lawbreaker. It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. We are never defeated unless we give up on God. Trust, but verify. Life is one grand, sweet song, so start the music. It's true hard work never killed anybody, but I figure, why take the chance? Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. Republicans believe every day is the 4th of July, but the Democrats believe every day is April 15th. There are no great limits to growth because there are no limits of human intelligence, imagination, and wonder. Democracy is worth dying for, because it's the most deeply honorable form of government ever devised by man. Government's view of the economy could be summed up in a few short phrases: if it moves, tax it; if it keeps moving, regulate it; and if it stops moving, subsidize it. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted, it belongs to the brave. You can tell a lot about a fellow's character by his way of eating jelly beans. I've often said there's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse. My fellow Americans, I am pleased to tell you I just signed legislation which outlaws Russia forever. The bombing begins in 5 minutes. How do you tell a communist? Well, it's someone who reads Marx and Lenin. And how do you tell an anti-communist? It's someone who understands Marx and Lenin. Latinos are Republican. They just don't know it yet. There are no easy answers, but there are simple answers. We must have the courage to do what we know is morally right. It has been said that politics is the second oldest profession. I have learned that it bears a striking resemblance to the first. Within the covers of the Bible are the answers for all the problems men face. Above all, we must realize that no arsenal, or no weapon in the arsenals of the world, is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. Today on the NATO line, our military forces face east to prevent a possible invasion. On the other side of the line, the Soviet forces also face east to prevent their people from leaving. Surround yourself with the best people you can find, delegate authority, and don't interfere as long as the policy you've decided upon is being carried out. Approximately 80% of our air pollution stems from hydrocarbons released by vegetation, so let's not go overboard in setting and enforcing tough emissions standards from man-made sources. Don't be afraid to see what you see. There are no constraints on the human mind, no walls around the human spirit, no barriers to our progress except those we ourselves erect. Before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. No government ever voluntarily reduces itself in size. Government programs, once launched, never disappear. Actually, a government bureau is the nearest thing to eternal life we'll ever see on this earth. Some people wonder all their lives if they've made a difference. The Marines don't have that problem. Government does not solve problems, it subsidizes them. Facts are stubborn things. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. I have wondered at times what the Ten Commandments would have looked like if Moses had run them through the U.S. Congress. Man is not free unless government is limited. Today we did what we had to do. They counted on America to be passive. They counted wrong. How can a president not be an actor? I know in my heart that man is good. That what is right will always eventually triumph. And there's purpose and worth to each and every life. The problem is not that people are taxed too little. The problem is that government spends too much. We should measure welfare's success by how many people leave welfare, not by how many are added. The best minds are not in government. If any were, business would steal them away. I never drink coffee at lunch. I find it keeps me awake for the afternoon. History teaches that war begins when governments believe the price of aggression is cheap. Without God, democracy will not and cannot long endure. A people free to choose will always choose peace. Status quo, you know, is Latin for the mess we're in. Government is like a baby. An alimentary canal with a big appetite at one end and no sense of responsibility at the other. Information is the oxygen of the modern age. It seeps through the walls topped by barbed wire. It wafts across the electrified borders. Recession is when a neighbor loses his job. Depression is when you lose yours. To sit back hoping that someday, some way, someone will make things right is to go on feeding the crocodile, hoping he will eat you last. But eat you he will. Government exists to protect us from each other. Where government has gone beyond its limits is in deciding to protect us from ourselves. But there are advantages to being elected president. The day after I was elected, I had my high school grades classified top secret. If we love our country, we should also love our countrymen. Let us be sure that those who come after will say of us in our time, that in our time we did everything that could be done. We finished the race, we kept them free, we kept the faith.